Welcome back, everybody. My name is William, always here with iMan, and we're going to be talking about bonds, and Barnbridge.
Barnbridge,
Yeah,
and just
so
general DeFi, I guess. Dude, it's about time. I guess we got sucked back in, dude. We
yeah,
started off this
yeah.
podcast as like a DeFi mainly podcast, right? Because that was interesting at the time, like
hmm
almost 2 years ago, I'd say.
Yeah,
But now we're like officially so balls deep into this stuff.
yeah.
It's just inescapable, man. It's like a definite rabbit hole.
So we're going to try to explain something that's relatively complicated and but has such a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
But before we start talking about Barnbridge, I want to take a note here on what's going on with Ethereum. It just broke through.
Your meme lines are holding up pretty well, dude.
Yeah, they are, man.
Gotta hand it to you. But I say we called it something pretty important like a few days ago. We noticed like live while we were recording there's like the ETH Bitcoin pairing actually starting to break out after like a 3 year
Yeah,
downtrend.
that's right. That's
So
right.
it's like the official like signal to anybody who's trading that like Bitcoin is going to start losing its dominance in this market, and we're starting to see like the first evidence of that, which
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
pretty exciting if you're like an altcoin boy.
Yeah. Bitcoin isn't really doing much right now, and Ethereum has breached its all time high and just hanging out beyond that.
Hmm.
So it looks like Ethereum's going to take over for at least a little while before Bitcoin catches his breath and starts, dominating again, as it will.
Yeah, as it will. It always comes back. Like
Yeah.
as soon as the altcoin party gets a little too out of control, Bitcoin always like comes to fuck it up. That's just the nature of the beast, of
Yeah.
the king.
All right. So we are gathered here to talk about Barnbridge. So the ticker symbol is Bond, and why we think this is probably one of the more interesting, potentially 100x to
Yeah.
like really take off eventually.
Yeah. I think there's just plenty of evidence suggesting like what you just claimed. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody wants to find those 100x gems, right? And
So
and
let's
like
talk about some of the 100x gems that we
kind of missed
missed.
out on, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one is
So
synthetics.
synthetics,
Another one is Sora.
Sora, which if you don't know is like what is it's the infrastructure that PolkaSwap's going to be built on, right?
PokeSwap. That's correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we missed out on that.
I think we're missing one more.
Kusama.
Kusama. Yeah.
Yeah, Kusama was one hell of an opportunity. I think it was lingering around 8-9 million market cap, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Now it's breaching 1 billion, pretty close to it. So
Yeah.
nowadays we all recognize the value of Kusama. It's not like whenever you first heard of it, it probably was easy to dismiss as everyone recognized it as like a test network. So
Yeah.
like, oh, how much value can a test network have? But yeah, we've seen
Yeah.
it can grow pretty significantly. So
Yeah. 100x is no joke. So,
no joke.
and that's, I I don't want to say that's the only reason we're talking about Barnbridge. I think there's traditional finance in bond is so huge. As a matter of fact, let me show you how big it is. So the bond market, it says here the size of the worldwide bond market, which is the total debt outstanding, is estimated to be at $100 trillion.
Mhm.
So, and that's that's of 2017. And so Barnbridge is a project that is decentralizing the functionality of taking illiquid assets and making them tradable on the open market. Would that be a correct description?
Yeah, I mean, the way they like to claim it is like they're figuring out a way to mitigate some of the current risks that exist in the DeFi space by, yeah, I guess mimicking the behavior of like what bonds do in the traditional finance world, right? Like they package up all of these, like you said, traditionally illiquid assets, like let's say mortgages.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
can't just like go to an exchange and be flipping your mortgage like every 6 minutes, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that. But there's obviously tons of accrued value in the mortgage business, and there's tons of debt as well
Yeah.
linked to that value. So these are all things that you could package into like these investable vehicles that they call bonds. And they call them tranches, I guess. So that's when it gets like real deep.
Yeah.
There's like different classifications of them, different ratings assigned to them. Based on that is like how much interest they can yield for you. But yeah, basically by packaging all those assets together, you can create like this derivative product. It's a synthetic representation of all those assets basically that now has the market functionality of like an equity would. You could trade it back and forth very quickly. Now all of a sudden the market has liquidity, and it's less risky, yada yada yada. Like finance is great. Basically.
So we're gonna try to make it easy to understand like what that actually looks like. So the purpose of the project is to be the first risk tokenizing protocol. Its purpose is to integrate with other protocols, letting hedging the yield risk on those lending and other platforms. So this project is based off of the derivatives market. So if, in case you don't know what a derivative is, a contract that derives the value from the performance of the underlying entity. And so we all know Bitcoin and its performance is volatile. Mm-hmm. And so what bonds try to do is they create a product called a bond that normalizes the risk of the underlying assets. So you can imagine that this red line is the bond product of Bitcoin. And
yeah, let's call it like Bitcoin's yield curve.
Bitcoin's yield curve. There you go.
If you want to like correlate it to what's going on in DeFi, right? Because the target of Barnbridge is to what you're talking about and like normalize and fix the yield of what's currently existing. Because yeah, man, if the goal of DeFi is to onboard, real money, like institutional money, like you got to present them with like the tools that they're used to using, right?
Yes,
like,
yes.
They're not used to interacting with these MetaMask accounts that linked to these like super variable interest rate yield aggregator platforms like Yearn or Pickle.
Yeah,
I can't see them, interacting with Pickle Finance.
Yeah,
I just can't. I can't see it. And so Barnbridge, and I'm sure there's other projects like in this sector. Maybe not. Maybe like we're so early, we're seeing Barnbridge pioneer this. I don't know. We're about to find out. But the thesis makes sense to me, right? Like if the overall goal for DeFi is to really bank the unbanked, like then these tools need to be built.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like the DeFi infrastructure is currently present, with Aave, with MakerDAO and DAI. Like we have all of the groundwork needed to start releasing these instruments, which is pretty intense.
Yeah, so they have a pretty sizable team, and a lot of the names here are notable. Let's see, they have support from Kane Warwick and Stani from. So Kane is from Synthetics and Stani's from Aave. So these guys are the advisors to this project.
Yeah, and like their team. You could spend some time like digging into the backgrounds. They have their LinkedIn profiles to all of them.
Yeah.
So already, this is already checking off like, at least they're not anonymous.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
These are real people. They have tons of interviews on YouTube. You just got to search them up. So that they are transparent enough. Us, if you've been following us over the years, like we have a project ourselves, and that's like our biggest thing. Like everything is transparent, dude. Like almost every decision we've thought of is like we discuss it.
Yeah,
it's somewhere on the internet. You just gotta find it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I like to see teams following in that footstep. And also dig into their actual like the engineers on this team. A lot of them have experience at Consensus, which is good.
Okay, good. So another thing we want to point out here is the roadmap. So they have sort of a tweet storm of what they're coming out with, and they have two products. But to summarize the tweet storm here is in the immediate future, we'll be finishing up Barnbridge DAO, which will empower the bond token holders to decide on how the protocol will work. So what they're doing is they're launching a DAO first before the products drop.
Yeah, see,
And
this was immediately like the first thing that kind of like took us back, right? A little bit. Like,
yes, it did.
yeah,
Because
like
we have some direct exposure to having a DAO, a community run DAO, and it's not the most efficient way to run anything.
yeah, it's very difficult to get like consensus, I guess, or like actual, participation, enough participation. I don't know if it's like we're lacking proper incentives for like the necessary participation we need
Well,
to actually like execute on things.
I think it's a problem of decentralization because you know how in 2017 we had this huge ICO run and took skyrocketed all these prices, but
Mhm.
only very few. There was only very few whales, right?
Yeah.
And those whales are dictating what happens in these DAO organizations.
Yeah, that's
And,
correct.
and
Yeah, a
so
lot of those earlier. That's a good point.
and us shrimp, we can't really help a community or a project because we don't have as many tokens as the whales
Yeah,
do, and the
we
whales
don't
get
have
to
the
decide
voting
what
power.
happens.
Yeah, that's correct. So we might have like a flawed, like a biased opinion, I guess, on DAO organization and efficiencies because yeah, well, I guess we're looking at like legacy models from like
Yeah, for
I
sure.
guess I guess like a flawed distribution method of the
There
tokens,
you
right?
go.
Or the
That's what it
voting power.
is.
And these guys address that. I think currently right now, like the state of the project is in that distribution phase.
Yeah.
So they didn't have an ICO, I don't think. No pre-sale as far
No,
as
they
I'm
didn't.
aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the tokens are totally mineable currently, So definitely go to their website. They have like a yield farming protocol live up and running. I think like $400 million locked up. So if every week they're allocating, a percentage of these tokens, which eventually will be DAO voting rights. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and another thing in their white paper, they say here different market driven yields can be found on numerous decentralized platforms. But there is nothing out there that services and pulls together all of the different decentralized protocols and allows for a normalized risk curve and derivatives for risk mitigation.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just another way to describe what their product is,
Mm-hmm.
and it's directed to these institutional, like big time investors.
Yeah,
So, um,
because of I guess like the big main like keyword to really hone in on is fixed yield, right?
yeah, that's right.
Like that Bitcoin chart you just use as an example is like the perfect demo. Like if you're institutional fund and you're responsible for like such a huge pool of clients who are entrusting you with
Yeah, hundreds of billions
their
of
wealth,
dollars.
yeah, trillions even in some
Yeah,
cases, like you're gonna have a hard time like keeping your customer base happy if you're exposing them to the white line essentially or this yellow line, whatever the fuck these lines are, dude. But
yeah,
that's what the market is actually doing at all times, right?
yeah, for sure.
That's the true nature of the beast. But this red line is something that we can, I guess, artificially create with these like derivative tools, and they become like investable products now that these institutional funds can serve to their customers.
Yeah,
Now all of a sudden you're a happy sleepy cow like for the rest of your life, dude. Like that thing is just slowly ticking up.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. Imagine if you're BlackRock, right? They have assets under management around $7 to $8 trillion.
yeah,
And they're looking to get into cryptocurrencies, and their only option is to getting into Bitcoin, which goes up and down every 4 years, and it crashes every 4 years, crashes 85% and change.
yeah,
Right? They wouldn't do that.
yeah,
And so with these derivatives and these bonds, they can get into the market and start diversifying their risk into cryptocurrencies in a yield curve that's a little bit more what they're used to.
yeah, 100%.
So that's why we think Barnbridge is going to be huge, is because it creates products for traditional finance to move that money into crypto.
Correct. And even like, us, like the retail, now we're getting exposure to like these very complex financial tools that used to be only available to, institutions.
Yeah.
or at least we're trying to like, I guess, simplify things and present it in like a nice UI user experience, just as easy as it is like staking like for liquidity in Uniswap, or yield farming on Yearn. Like it should be that easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, the founder of this thing, I think, oh man, so you can find his name on the team page.
Yeah, let me go team.
Yeah, Tyler. I believe Tyler is the one who wrote these original white paper from the interviews I've seen. But yeah, his experience, from what I've seen, is pretty extensive in that whole user experience interface. So he's going to build these good products. So that's another big thing to keep your mind on. It's not built yet. It's not launched. We can't show you the dashboard.
Yeah.
Like that, right? So that's kind of like, that's the big risk reward here, right? That's probably why the price is so low.
Well, I think they have an app, and you can see some information here.
Well, this is the yield farming. Oh, and the value locked went down significantly since like a couple of days ago. But yeah, these are the pools that you could be earning your bond tokens from.
Right.
But this isn't the actual.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, this is the yield farming product. Okay. Yeah. So here's another interesting thing: the DAO ecosystem overview. So this is just an overlook of all the DAOs and their total value locked or assets under management for each project. So here's Barnbridge at $129 million locked, and that's number 3. And then. So we'll add this link into the description as well, so you can take a look at it. But all these DAOs that have value locked will be on this list, and it's just interesting to see a project that hasn't fully launched already start tackling this aspect of the project, which is what they're focusing on, is launching with a DAO first.
Yeah, and you can see where it says members are 15. I don't think we mentioned it, but like this DAO is going to roll out in like 2 separate phases. So I think the first phase, once we look at the roadmap, it should say like very soon, if not already, phase 1 of the DAO will be coming out, where it's more of like a centralized DAO, right? It's 15 members. Obviously, the community is not running shit, right? When there's 15 members,
yeah,
and there's that much value locked up, so it's like. I think they recognize, like, dude, we're not gonna just launch the product with like a full community DAO, like, not, and let them decide on everything, right? Because that's one of the most unproven, aspects of the crypto space. We don't know if a fully decentralized DAO can actually, self-govern, right?
Right.
So to us, that's the big like question mark, right? Is like whether or not the DAO will make the right decisions.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, it's just weird coming from our perspective. DAOs haven't been like the most successful, but this is different because they're starting with the DAO first. So if you have a proper distribution, then I think you can actually make this a higher likely chance of success.
Yeah. So we don't know when like the version 2 of the DAO, which is like that fully decentralized version, right? Like now your voting power with the bond token has all the influence over the protocol. So I'm pretty sure like these founding members, I don't know like what their green light's going to look like, but they probably have like a chalkboard all written up. Like as soon as all these things happen, then we could like pass it over,
Yeah. And the last thing we'll show you is that we got Stani, the guy from Aave, just tweeting about Barnbridge, and then Kane just showing their support for what Barnbridge is building. So there you are. But yeah, I think hopefully that explains a little bit about Barnbridge, and we covered a little bit about derivatives and how they're going to tackle a $100 trillion market. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at The Blockburner and also at MetaZone.io. And if you like everything that we're doing, just drop us a comment, like and subscribe, and then we'll catch you tomorrow on the next video.
All right. Peace out.